Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the DAO ENVELOP Podcast. I'm your host, Eugene Crypto MC, and today is Singapore episode, because I'm having today Singapore crypto queen. She's Wan Wei. She's a Singaporean tech futurist, author, and thought leader in the Web3 and Metaverse space. She has spoken at more than 50 reputable blockchain and AI industry conferences globally, and I'm, as an MC in conference, personally a huge respect for that. And she's also the CEO and founder of IKIGUIDE and head of ecosystem of Multiverse. Her mission is to help 10 million people cross over to the Metaverse and Web3 space. So Wan Wei, it's a great honor to have you on our podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Eugene, for the introduction. And I'm so happy and excited to be here today.
Let's start with your story. Your story is amazing and fascinating. Just a quick look on your resources bring us to the confidence that you're super productive, super effective, and versatile, multifunctional person. First, how did you come into the blockchain space? What was your motivation when you did that?
Well, that's a really good question. So IKIGUIDE actually started when I was doing my master's in Finland. So it actually began from Helsinki in 2014. So in 2014, someone commissioned me to write an article about a Bitcoin faucet. And so basically I was like, what is Bitcoin? And basically it all started from there. And in the same year, there was this really big event in Helsinki called Slush, SLUSH. It's an entrepreneurship event. It's the first year. And I spent my entire summer studying in the library. So I did not know about Slush at all until it was too late to volunteer. And I told the organizers, hey, I really wanted to visit Slush. Is there any way I can volunteer last minute? They say no. And I found out that there was media passes. So I told the organizers that, okay, so why don't I go as a media, since I'm media trained, right? I did I was doing my master's in public relations then. So they said okay, to my surprise and my gratitude. And that's how IKIGUIDE started. So we started firstly as a startup media portal. And in 2017, there was a bull market. We discovered a lot of capital was flowing into the blockchain Bitcoin space. And then we pivoted to blockchain space. And that was how my professional journey in the Bitcoin/blockchain industry started. And fast forward to 2022, this year, what happened was that we realized that the open metaverse is a very interesting space to be in, a niche that we personally believe that is the future. That's why we narrowed this niche down into the open metaverse space. In general, open metaverse and Web 3.0 space. So that's how it all began.
Well, you know, we are quite similar persons with you because we both are public persons in the Web3 space. We both like events, love events. You are a speaker. We both like learning. You are an educator. You educate people. You are a marketer. We are PR and marketing public persons in the industry. So that's amazing. So what are you most passionate about? Because so much roles do you have? You love to be a public person. You love to educate. Am I correct?
I love to educate, but I don't really like to be public because I've been doxxed a few times. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and like whenever we try to reach out to more people, there are pros and cons in the sense that the downside is that people will find out things about you online, and sometimes they might try to threaten you when some things you say they don't really agree with. Yeah, so that is the downside. So back to your question, I'm most passionate about the open source communities. I think I am most drawn to this space of Web3 because the energy is so different, right? Like the fact that we are doing this podcast now and openly sharing information, and the open source ideology is such that every problem only needs to be solved once because of so many smart and talented people all over the world. And to make solutions free for all to use, free not as in priceless, like not charging a price, but free as in really freedom. So this is what I love most about the blockchain community, Web 3.0 community, because of the open source ideology. Yeah.
Definitely. When I started in the crypto industry 5 years ago, in 2017, and if somebody asked me, name three world countries which are the most friendly to crypto, the answer was Singapore, Hong Kong, and Switzerland. Has something changed since the times? I had been in Singapore in 2019, as I already told you. I conducted an event because this country is, I would say, this is the place where billionaires and trillionaires is the best place for business meeting, because total safety, good weather, super excellent. And recently I had read the book of Lee Kuan Yew, the famous book of From the Third World to the First. This is the great example of the history. Of course, I suggest to everyone to learn about Singapore, to read this book. Tell us, Wan Wei, what's going on in Singapore right now from the crypto? Is Singapore still the best country in the world to establish or to run crypto business?
That's a great question. And I'm not very, I'm not, how should I put it? I'm not known for being politically correct. So I'm going to say, no, it's not the best place anymore. Having said that, it's not a bad place. It's a good place, still reasonably good. I'm a Singaporean, by the way. So yeah, I think Dubai is the best place for crypto businesses to go to right now. I have so many friends, Singaporeans, Malaysians, they moved to Dubai because things are more crypto friendly there. And like even Binance moved the Singaporean headquarters to Dubai. I think the capital fund, Three Arrows, also moved to Dubai recently out of Singapore. And I guess the main reason for this is the slightly tighter regulations in Singapore. Because, you know, in Singapore, we have a very protective government, very paternal government. So what happened, I guess, was that too many people got scammed in Singapore space whenever they are dealing with cryptocurrencies, with DeFi assets. And so we are already seeing right in front of our eyes, Digital Payment Acts in Singapore, and also the travel rule kicking in Singapore. And now you see a lot of court cases. NFT are considered officially a digital asset. Creators are likely to be taxed next year, if I'm not wrong. It's already announced that there are intentions to tax the creators of NFT projects. So I guess it's really a pro and con. If you are like a more conservative holder of NFT, or if you're the first timer to the blockchain crypto space, it is a good place to be in. However, if you're talking about experimentation, things like lower taxes, things like a vibrant blockchain ecosystem, I think Dubai is the place to be. Back to your point on Hong Kong and Switzerland, I think as compared to Hong Kong, Singapore might be a better place to do crypto projects, only because of the political stability relatively. In Switzerland, of course, I don't think there's a comparison because Switzerland is based in Europe. And Singapore is more like if you want to target Southeast Asian markets, you want to be closer to the founders in Southeast Asia based on the rise of GameFi. So yeah, personally, if I had a choice of free movement, I would go Dubai.
Definitely, great answer. Thank you very much. So Wan Wei, explain us what is IKIGUIDE and what is Multiverse, like I would say the branch project of IKIGUIDE, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, cool. So thanks for that question. So I'm the CEO and founder of IKIGUIDE Metaverse Collective, or we call it IMC for short. So what IKIGUIDE does is it's really an educational, or it's an academy. But I realized something very interestingly, that in the Web 3.0 space, we can't really sit down and get educated. We need to get our hands dirty to actually perhaps take like, let's say you have $1,000 in your bank, right? Let's take the $1,000 to really play around with certain projects, mint your own NFT, or buy some cryptocurrency. So we have realized that students learn best this way. And in the traditional education approach, it's more like, I'm the teacher and you're the student, right? Then we slowly realized that in the Web3 space, actually, nobody's an expert. Like nobody is expert, because the Web3 space, changes so quickly, and things can be very random, and when certain assumptions are like not valid, we just suddenly realize that it's not valid. A very excellent example recently is the Terra Luna case. Like everyone thought it was not going to fail, thriving, blah blah blah, and it still failed, right? Like, oh, that was so dramatic. Like I thought it was better than Netflix, and I'm quite sure Netflix will do a feature on it soon. So IKIGUIDE, we became a collective from an academy because we realized that the power is really in community, generous sharing of information, and really creating a safe space to exchange information. So this is what IKIGUIDE Metaverse Collective is actually doing. Okay, and at the same time, I'm also the head of ecosystem at Multiverse Labs. What this means is that I'm an employee there, and Multiverse, we are doing a photorealistic metaverse. What this means is that currently the popular metaverses are Sandbox, you have Decentraland, and these are very 2D kind of metaverses that if you want your luxury brands to be on there, or you want retail, F&B, you would rather a more photorealistic version of it. This is our assumption, of course. And interestingly, it has been repeatedly validated because currently we have a lot of partners on board from the luxury, retail, travel, hospitality, real estate spaces. And I think one thing that separates Multiverse from the rest of the metaverses is the idea of AI-powered virtual beings. So you can actually have, think of it like an AI in a human form, or not even in human form. It can be in a cat form, unicorn form that talks to you. So this actually has a lot of use cases spanning from education, healthcare. You have things like automobile. You can have, let's say, sales assistants actually introducing the product to you 24/7 because these are all virtual beings on the metaverse. So I'm very excited. I think I'm very thankful to be involved in these two big projects because it's very intellectually stimulating, and every day I learn something new. Yeah.
Definitely. And when you said nobody is an expert in Web3 today, that means that it is not lost to jump into the space. Just study the recent history of recent 15 years, 13 years, and just be on cutting edge, because the cutting edge is totally known in different branches or defined later. And it's very, very easy to understand what's going on in cutting edge in the industry. And such a podcast, they give a strong perception what's going on. So the podcast is, well, I personally love to listen to podcasts because this is a great resource to learn English and to learn Web3 if you are not English native person. Well, so I consider NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, as sort of building blocks of the metaverse, because almost anything may be represented and is represented in the metaverse in the form of NFT. What are your general thoughts on NFT and utilizing NFTs in the metaverse in particular?
I think NFTs, there are two parts to it, right? Because NFT as a basic building block to the open metaverse is correct. Open metaverses is all based on the idea of digital assets. And NFT is really a basic building block in the sense that a lot of people don't realize, or by that I mean like beginners to people who just entered the space, who have not yet bought their first NFT, they do not realize that it's actually a token that you can store in your wallet. So the main difference between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 is that when you play a game in the Web 2.0 space, the game assets that you have grinded so hard for is actually does not belong to you. So if the game fails, the company goes bankrupt, your asset is basically gone. Give you an example that suddenly popped into my head. There is this company called Gatebox in Japan, and they run this hologram called Hatsune Miku. Eugene, have you heard of it?
Oh, exactly now, the first time.
Okay, it's okay. You can Google it later. So Hatsune Miku is a really cute anime-like character, and so this guy in Japan, he actually got married to a hologram, Hatsune Miku. Yeah, and the best part is,
Amazing.
yeah,
Married on a hologram. I heard
yeah,
that these guys in Japan are quite strange, but this is amazing fact, right?
yeah, and the best part is also Gatebox actually issued certificates to this guy, and it's not just one person who married the hologram Hatsune Miku. It's actually more than 3,000 people, if I'm not wrong. So remember, Gatebox is actually a Web2 company who made the hologram Hatsune Miku. So this year, just I think 2 months ago, Gatebox announced that they are not going to continue the hologram service anymore for Hatsune Miku. So one day, this guy, he went back home and he realized that Hatsune Miku, his wife, is gone. Yeah, because Gatebox announced that they are not going to continue maintaining Hatsune Miku, the hologram, anymore. So it's gone. So, so this is like one example of a Web2. Once the company announced something, and no matter how emotionally attached you are to him or her or it's just gone forever, right? So in Web3, because Hatsune Miku will be in your wallet, so if she exists as an NFT, then she will be in your wallet and she is yours forever. So I feel sorry for the guy because Hatsune Miku is not an NFT. And this is precisely the power of Web3. Because if you talk to NFT holders or like Doodles, Cyberkong, your Bored Ape, they are all, most of them at least, they are very attached to the NFT they own. So whenever we buy NFT, there's this emotional attachment, and it's great if it actually belongs to you in your wallet and not like at the power of some centralized big tech. So back to your question on how NFT is the basic building block of Web 3.0. This is precisely how it is.
This is an amazing story, a really amazing story. And I heard that the perception of NFT in Asia is quite different than in West. In West, like collectibles, and in Asia, some guys told me that why NFTs are so popular in Asia. And now the story gives me a new understanding. I will track more and more carefully what's going on regarding NFT in Asia since we have recorded this episode. Thank you very much for this point. And the kind of professional question, we would love to have your opinion from our ENVELOP team. I don't know if you are familiar with the concept of the wrapping NFT, and it's quite easy. I'll explain you. It allows using an NFT as a sort of magic container, or I would say the luxury Louis Vuitton Prada leather crypto digital wallet with any fungible tokens inside. And let's put any crypto inside and add some cool features to this wallet or containers such as time locks, royalties, rental mechanics, etc. So first of all, it makes an NFT price much more predictable because crypto is inside, perhaps 20 BUSDs inside. This NFT costs not less than this. And second, it leads to dozens of use cases in different branches of Web3, from crypto investments in the form of wrapped NFT to player gaming and rental mechanics in such as Infinity and so on. Even advertising in the Metaverse is one of the use cases. So we'd love to have your opinion. What are your general thoughts on that concept? How could it be useful for metaverses or for multiverse, for exact metaverse in your mind, for example?
Okay, thanks for the question. So firstly, I do know about wrapped NFT, but I do not know enough to comment meaningfully. The reason behind this is that I first heard of the term in 2020 when someone actually wrote some article on it. However, in 2020, I actually thought it's more of a hyped term. And fast forward 2 years later to this year, if you ask Doodle holders, for example, have they heard of wrapped NFT? Some Doodle holders will tell you, yes, they have heard of it. And some will tell you, no, there is no such thing in Doodles. So I think it all goes back to the definition of wrapped tokens or wrapped digital assets. You have wrapped Ether, you have wrapped Bitcoin, right? So the idea of like wrap digital assets instead of wrap NFT per se is that you want to preserve some form of the value by pegging it to some other digital asset. So if you write it out in a mathematical formula, it's like you have asset A, you have asset B, and in order to prevent asset B, let's say value from falling so much, you want to peg it to asset A. So this is a general concept. Having said that, with that as a context, I think wrap NFT is personally, I think it's a hype. You may disagree with me, of course. And when we talk about things like pegging, there are other issues involved. Like there are a list of assumptions that have to be made explicit. Give you the recent example that I mentioned, Terra Luna. Everyone thought UST would be pegged to $1. And of course, the assumption is that when if the UST is depegged, then the fall will not be so drastic. So that's the assumption that you have to be explicit about. So, and of course, what we saw like in the last month, or is it this month? Yeah, this month, is that the assumption did not hold. That's why it just free fell into the death spiral, right? So back to the question, the point on wrap NFT, Multiverse currently, we are not using any wrap NFT precisely because it is so new and, may I add, speculative. So we do not want to subject our users and our partners to that. And the second point I want to add is that if any project were to use that, I'd like to urge everyone to be more diligent in researching what exactly are the unsaid assumptions just to protect yourself. Because project A and project B, they might use the same term wrap NFT, but the definition might be different and the underlying assumptions might be different as well.
Thank you very much for this, such a detailed answer. Sounds excellent. So you are a marketer, you are strong, people-oriented, human-oriented, blockchain lady in a Web3 space. You educate, you speak, you are community builder, you are a native marketer. This is amazing. How do I see you? Do you have any tips or life hacks how to onboard people from Web2 to Web3 space, how to build a strong and grow a community of blockchain project? This task, every project needs to solve and will be needing to solve.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. I think how do we bridge the gap between Web2 and Web3? Firstly, is a growth mindset. The growth mindset is something like, instead of saying that, oh no, I can't do this or I can't do that, why not change the script to how can I do this or how can I do that? Like, I'll give an example. The thinking that the self-talk we have to ourselves, like, oh no, I can't be a millionaire. Why not change it to how can I be a millionaire? Yeah, this is the meaning of growth mindset. So I do my best to encourage it with everybody that I speak with or meet on a daily level, because it is very inspiring to change the idea of competition to the idea of, hey, this person has actually done it, so it means that I can do it too. It's an encouragement. So we move from a space of competition and being competitive to using this particular example as encouragement for yourself. Because so the thinking is that if someone else does it and made tons of money off NFT, or they created a very successful NFT project, then why can't I do it? And then, this is the growth mindset that creates a very positive collaborative culture. Because instead of you being my competitor, you are now my friend, because we can dream something bigger and build something way bigger than ourselves. So this is the first thing. And because of the growth mindset, you will create a community that wants to give back to each other because they help each other succeed. The second thing I would say to a successful community is the idea of intrinsic motivation. As you're familiar with, Eugene, in the crypto space, NFT space, a lot of people are in it for speculation, right? So the idea here is that it would be great if the project can appeal to the intrinsic motivations of people. Like, even without money, what would motivate people in a community to do things? Some people are there for the art. Some people have values such as beauty. They think the art is beautiful. And it goes back to your brand value. Like what is the brand's DNA? Does the brand celebrate like women empowerment, which a lot of NFT collections are doing? Or does it celebrate other things like courage, things like innovation, being one of a kind, unique? All these, it would be great to be consistent in the brand message and values. So I think these two, the growth mindset and intrinsic motivations, are very important when it comes to building a community.
How do you prefer to learn about Web3? What will be your suggestions to nearby people how to learn about Web3 effectively?
Web3, yeah, that's a good question. I think my best suggestion is to just do it, but start small. So, manage your risk. But the thing is that this space moves so quickly that if I want to understand everything or 90% of the situation before moving on, it is futile because the next day something else would happen. Imagine if I were to spend like 6 months studying Terra Luna last month, and last month I just ended my 6-month journey of studying Terra Luna and I bought a lot of Terra Luna, right? Well, this month is like everything is not true anymore. So why not start small, manage your risk well and see how it goes. So start small, see the results, pivot a bit, and maybe increase your experimentation by a little bit more, see the results and pivot a bit more. So I think this is the way. Of course, when it comes to NFT, we also have certain guidelines, and that is why I wrote my book as well. The paperback is on Amazon right now globally, and it's called Navigating the NFT Mania. So that is written for beginners because a lot of people wrote into me saying that they have been scammed, they lost their token and things like. Oh yeah, I'm laughing not at them, but I'm laughing because it's like it sounds ridiculous to me in a sense, and I'm like it's ridiculous in the sense that it gets funny when I start to receive so many of such messages on a daily basis. And I was like, what can I do to help people? And that's why I wrote the book. So I think get the book when if you want some insurance or guidance to making your first move into the NFT world. And if you are talking about cryptocurrencies, just start small and experiment. I think experimentation is key. Yep.
Definitely. Sounds amazing. I will put a link on your book into the description of this video. This is how Wan Wei educates people. She takes and writes book. This is great. So Wan Wei, the last question for you in this episode. What's the best way to follow you on the internet? You have a lot of resources, and where are you going to give your next offline and online speech or talk on what event?
Okay, I think the best way to be connected is on LinkedIn. You can just we can include a URL there. The next talk will actually be tomorrow. I think that in the next in the next 10 weeks, I will be doing like 12 talks with Tech in Asia, with some of the bigger like corporations. Interestingly, that something that even surprises myself is that even New York exchange listed corporations are interested in the metaverse now. And so we have a couple of like internal company trainings for the practitioners, marketing practitioners or IT practitioners who are interested in how metaverse affect the industry or affect the business model. So we're also doing talks there. Yeah. All in all, yeah, just contact me through LinkedIn or Twitter. LinkedIn will be better. Yeah.
This is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, so this has been an Asian, Singaporean, and future Metaverse episode with Soh Wan Wei. She's the founder of IKIGUIDE and head of the system in the Metaverse, and me using Crypto MC. Where we do thank you for watching and listening. Please like, subscribe, share, join the Web3 movement, read Wan Wei book, and just learn by doing. Try to do something and Web3 is totally open and nobody's expert here. It's not too late to jump into the space because we are just in the beginning. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and stay tuned for our next episode of the DAO and ENVELOP Podcast. Bye-bye. Blockchain. B-L-O-C-K chain. Digital money, smart contracts, NFT, IDO, decentralization, transparency. So many opportunities, but so many challenges. Some financial manipulators, by their actions, confuse blockchain solutions and block their development. The idea that the blockchain should bring copyright and royalties protection to the next level is quite old, but the realizations of these ideas are not perfect at all. There is another problem of determining the value of a particular cryptocurrency or NFT. These and other problems need to be solved. Fortunately, the blockchain infrastructure is evolving. My name is E, Mr. E, and I represent the ENVELOP project. Many things have already been invented in the blockchain today. Tokens, smart contracts, platforms for creating your own coins, NFTs, exchanges for buying, selling, and exchanging all these blockchain resources. ENVELOP is another step in the development of crypto technologies, the protocol that works with NFT and cryptocurrencies. The idea is simple but disruptive. Let's assume you have an NFT, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Using the ENVELOP protocol, you can wrap the original NFT accompanied with several tokens. Technically, you get a similar NFT, but what is the breakthrough here? Once wrapped, the token has a number of additional features that were not available before. The minimal cost appears. It is provided with coins wrapped together with NFT. An asset wrapped with ENVELOP has a number of properties that allow the original author to receive royalties from the resale of that asset. Various rules can be applied to the wrapped token. For example, a lock period for unwrapping. It secures the asset till the determined moment or safeguards it from speculation during the hype period. At the same time, wrapped tokens can be transferred and traded. These are just some of the scenarios for using ENVELOP. NFTs become more popular, and the tools provided by ENVELOP expand the opportunities of NFTs utilization. Wide application possibilities are achieved due to the fact that, in addition to the protocol, the project includes a number of subsystems. The protocol provides functions wrapping and unwrapping. Oracle mechanics provides asset valuation using analytical algorithms. Index provides a summary assessment of several NFT assets with the common criteria. The project has its own token, which connects all elements of the system. Altogether, this is ENVELOP, a tool in the blockchain world for building modern and secure systems in various fields. Find more info about the project on the website. ENVELOP. Make your NFT valuable. Just practical, no hype.